Welcome back, everybody. We're going to take a look today at setting up lighting scenarios inside of Unreal using precomputed lighting. What I have right here is a executable of the game that I built that shows a remedial scene that has a nighttime scene and a daytime scene with different lighting solutions. So if I toggle back and forth between these things, I could jump to it, but there's a little bit of popping when you switch lighting solutions. And so just a quick camera fade gives you the opportunity to show a warm daytime and a cool nighttime scene. And I'll show you how this is constructed here in just a sec. So to understand this concept, you need to have a grasp on level streaming. Level streaming is the process that Unreal uses to bring different levels with details into a persistent world. The persistent world being the kind of home base for what levels are being loaded. This scene is not very built out, but I have a number of things going on here. You can see the daytime sun and the nighttime particle effects. In my levels panel, which I can get to by going to window and levels, I have my daytime and my nighttime levels added into my persistent. When you want to add levels, you can always add them in using existing levels, or you can create new levels. And basically this allows you to attach the details of those levels into this one. There's a little blue icon next to each one that says that this is loaded by blueprints rather than persistently loaded. And so what I'm going to be looking at is how do I add this lighting information to my level other than the way that I would stream in content for, say, a world that opens up once a player opens a door, the things behind it load in. First thing is that I have to have this level set as a lighting solution. You can see this little light bulb here. This is a lighting scenario. I can right click on it and change lighting scenario. It can be a regular level or a lighting scenario. When you have at least one lighting scenario inside of a persistent level, then it's going to take all the information that would go into the regular world and it's going to pass that on over into the lighting scenario. And if you have multiple lighting scenarios, it'll consider each one of those and calculate them independently. So since I have two different lighting scenarios, when I get things set up in my persistent world, if I turn off the daytime and the nighttime levels, you can see that this is pretty sparse. If I just look at these are the details that live inside of my daytime scenario, or the persistent level. And if I want to look at only what's in the daytime scenario, and turn the lighting back on since we're going to have lighting here. And if I look at only in the nighttime scenario, this is what I have here. So you'll notice that I have a light mass importance volume around the area that I'm going to be focusing on. I added a light mass portal, this little guy right here. This is right at the window of the facility that I have. And then I have the post-process set up for this level. It's set to infinite extents, so it's going to be applicable no matter where the player is. And then I have like this these lights and reflection probes over here. These are for the desk, and then I have a general reflection for the window, and then some lights for the sidebars here. And in each level, the day and the night, I have different lights. The night ones have yellow lights on them, and the daytime ones have white lights on them. So when you go to look at all this together, when you go to build this, you have to go up to your build settings, and assuming you've already built reflection captures and lighting at least once, you'll have generated this collection of details called build data. So the build data is associated with the map. This one is for the daytime map. This one is for the nighttime map. They don't need to be named as sparsely as this, but I just did this for convenience. Once those maps are independently defined and contain all the relevant assets, and you don't have lights inside of the main level, then you're going to go over to the level blueprint for your persistent level. So when I open this up, I have something here that's probably more robust than we need. What we're actually looking to do is define which level stream is going to be loaded. So this is the node that you're really looking for here, load level stream by name. And when you're ready to switch over to another level stream, you have to unload the other level stream by name. And so this allows you to turn off the one lighting solution and then turn on the other one. If you have two lighting solutions on at the same time, you may get some graphical issues as well as potentially throw an error that could crash your game. So make sure that you unload one stream before you load the other. You'll notice these have the asynchronous icon next to them, so they will finish working before they send off the next pin. So you won't ever have these things step on each other if you have a lot of things to unload or a lot of things to load. And then I've added some delay nodes here and a camera fade just to make it a little bit prettier. When I go to nighttime, it fades to and from black, and when I go to daytime, it fades to and from white. So the big details are that you have to have the level name, and that goes right in here. You probably want to copy that directly from your content browser. You don't necessarily want to have a mistype there that could lead to an error in loading. You want to make sure that you have make visible after load and should block on load set to true, and should block on unload. You can set this to true or false depending on what you have inside of that level. I set this up to be attached to the left mouse button, but you could also have this attached to information that's going to run at begin play, during begin play, and maybe none of these things are loaded, and then it'll choose which one to load based off of the information that's being passed to the level saved in the game instance or something like that. Inside of the levels panel, I have the daylight level set on by default, so that when the player starts into play, we get this daytime level. So the way I do this is I click on this little level details pen right up here with the daytime level selected, or I can select it from this drop-down list of levels that are attached to this persistent. And I just enabled initially loaded and loaded or initially visible. If I turn these off, when I went to go play, it would have no lighting information until I toggled one and then back to the other. And that would be fine if that's how you wanted to manage it. But if you're planning on dropping the player outdoors, just whatever the initial scene is that they're going to be dropped into, that's what you probably want to set the scene up to so they can switch into it appropriately. And just remember that you should be adding your levels to your project settings. So when you go to your project settings and go to packaging, under advanced for your project here, you're going to want to scroll down until you can get to the list of maps to include. And just make sure that you add each of your specific maps. That way they're available for loading when the engine goes to look for the lighting scenario. But hopefully this gives you an idea of how to set up a lighting scenario, gives you the resources on how to get the menus and the controls set up for it, and allows you to go out there and keep building.